Welcome back to Balderdash Academy. Our points are, I'm in last place with 50 points. Next, we have Molly with 100, Carla Rose with 125, our reigning champion Marie has 145, and Nate is in the lead with 190. It's time for our second pop quiz. This pop quiz is from the head of STEAM, Mr. Nate Green.
Thank you, everybody, for coming back for my quiz. So one of the most Instagrammable mathematical sequences is the Fibonacci sequence. How much of this sequence do we know? I can explain what it is, but I just want to quiz you guys quickly here. Let's start with the number 1. I'll start first. What number comes after the number 1 in the Fibonacci sequence?
1.
All right.
2.
Okay.
Do you want the real answer?
Yeah. All right. So we had a really good start, really solid start. It took off like a rocket, and the rocket made it up about 2, and then it fell.
But 2.
So
yeah.
Fibonacci sequence is fantastic. You start with 1 and 0, and then you add those two numbers together, which comes up with 1. So then you have those two numbers, 1 and 1. You add those together, you come up with 2. You take 1 and 2. So you just keep adding the previous number to the current number. So it would be 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, and so on. It's fantastic.
And that's how you get into the bunker in Lost.
Yes.
Call back.
Now, so here's what I'm going to ask you guys.
It's where the internet started.
This was named after Fibonacci. Except that wasn't his real... Fibonacci. That wasn't his real name. That name came actually after his death. It was a nickname given to him around 1838 by Guillaume Libre. I want to ask you guys, since you guys know the Fibonacci sequence so well, what was Fibonacci's real name? Molly, let's start with you.
Fibonacci's real name was Earl.
Pearl.
Earl
Oh, Earl.
Nachi. And the problem with Earl Nachi is that he told a whole lot of lies, or fibs, if you will. So everyone thought, Earl Nachi, that name's not going anywhere. Liar, liar, pants on fire, Fibonacci. So it was kind of like a playground, kind of like dick move bullying name, but it stuck, and now it's beautiful, and it means gorgeous beauty and things, flowers, everything. So suck that, playground bullies.
So we got Earl Nachi. I love it. Earl Nachi, liar. And Bob, what was his real name?
Well,
not yours.
I mean, here's the thing. Fibonacci inspired more than just a sequence of numbers. Fibonacci also inspired the View-Askew universe. Most people don't know this, but his real name was Jay. He got the name simply by saying Natch as much as humanly possible.
Jay.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was
it's
either a
good
choice between that or Scoochie Boochies.
Yep.
Yes. And Marie, what was Fibonacci's real name?
Absolutely. So Fibonacci, his last name is actually Acci, A-C-C-I, but his first name was just so long that all of his friends were like, screw that, I am not pronouncing Frederick Ichabod Bobbert Orrin Nicholas. Acci. So they were like, all right, you're Fibbo. Nachi, and then so it was like an acronym. It turned into a very long, lengthy name: Frederick Ichabod Bobbert Orrin Nicholas Acci the Third. Fibonacci.
Fibbo was my favorite Marx brother.
Yeah. And Carla Rose, you want to take a stab at Fibonacci?
Sure. as an Italian American, this is right in my wheelhouse. So his actual name, he was a transplant to Italy. His name was Lester Troma. And actually, and he was like this crazy guy with all these numbers, and he'd draw like little, he was a fisherman, and he'd take these pods and he would like, like draw spirals on them. He would like, show them because he didn't have paper. And this was like the Da Vinci Code had come out, and that was like all the rage at the time. So, and like Fibonacci means spiral in Italian. So they were like, hey, look at this guy and his Fibonacci cod. So, that spiral cod, that's where they came, and his real name was Lester Troma.
Lester Troma. All right. So
little known fact, spiral cod was the name I used to dance under.
Apropos.
I think I've seen
I think I saw you once.
Yeah. Thanks for the tip, Sean.
So we have Earl the Liar. We have Jay, or Snoochie Boochies. And we have super long names, so we're going to shorten it to Fibbo. And then we have Spiral Lester from the Troma family.
His middle name was
guesses.
Matthew, right?
Yeah, which ironically was his best friend's name. But those are great guesses. His real name was actually Leonardo Pisano Bolego of Pisa. Fibonacci is actually a shortened version of Filius Bonacci, which means son of Bonacci. And that is the Truthinacci.
All right.
So how would you like to lay down some points here?
Okay, let's go 15 to Carla Rose for
Grazie. Grazie, signor.
Lloyd Kaufman switching to Lester Kaufman, switching to Lester Troma. I look forward to the next incarnation to see what it will become next. Let's do 20 points to Marie for the degree of difficulty for throwing in an acronym for no reason. Good stuff there. Jane Silent Bob reference is worth 30, so we'll give 30 points to Bob. And Molly gets 40 for the fibbing one for having the hook of that take way too long to sneak up on me. You actually got the punchline out before I caught it. It was great.
It's not happening in real time.
All right. So, our next game is Lie, Lie Again, where I will read a weird or unusual fact about a select member of our faculty. Now, this statement can be the truth or a complete lie. Our visiting professor and fellow faculty members may question the subject to better understand whether or not the statement is the truth or a lie. Either way, the subject must convince everyone that the unusual fact is true, no matter how absurd it sounds. And staying on the theme of horror comedies, Molly was once pulled up on stage in a midnight showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Right, Molly?
Yes, I was.
All right. Who has our first question for Molly?
Sorry. Well, I was going to ask what scene was going on.
And I was going to ask, what were you wearing? So what were you wearing and in what scene? Tag team this question.
Socially speaking, this is the only time either of those questions are legally accessible, allowed. What were you wearing and what scene were you in?
What scene?
Generally is a way to get HR to throw you out of the building.
So look, I have to be completely honest. I was never one of those kind of like cult classic Rocky Horror Picture Show like groupies that like knew all the songs. I was never in the play, none of that stuff. I've seen the movie with Meatloaf, which is great. But I went with a girlfriend that was really into it in high school. I was wearing, what was I wearing? Something ridiculous. This black, what was I wearing? This black, sequin tube top. You know, everyone dresses up. Bright red lipstick, of course. Yeah. Teased hair, whatever. We went to the nines. And I don't know what scene it was. All I know was that it was literally embarrassing because I was the only one there that didn't know the lyrics. And it killed me. And so I'm like, everyone's looking at me and everybody knows. except for me. And that's why it sucked, because otherwise I like being on stage. So, yeah.
All right, who has the next question?
Where was this? Like, where was this being performed?
Yeah, it was in Portland. You remember, what was that, Zoots? Remember Zoots?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah.
R.I.P. Zoots.
I remember that was the only guy in black plaid. All right, who has another question for Molly?
I'm under the impression, I have not actually gone to a live Rocky Horror myself, but I'm under the impression that people who have never been to a Rocky Horror before are asked to do some sort of, like, you have to peel a banana with just your mouth or something like that. Like, were you asked to do any weird things?
What? No, I do not know
No?
what that is. No.
Really?
Dude, Jamie and I went in. She was all about it. She had a bunch of her like Portland friends that I like kind of knew. I was kind of friends with them. So I was just kind of like totally kind of out of my elephant, as I say, in that situation. But no, I didn't. I just went in with them because we were like a big group, and it was all like, and we had glow sticks and sparkle makeup and.
So what happened when you got on stage?
Oh, what happened when I got on stage? I was completely mortified because everyone was singing all the words in choreographed music and I didn't know it.
Any reactions to
And I was
you?
literally doing this.
Sean, what's your question? I saw your hand up. Do you have a question
I was
for
actually
Molly?
going to ask if it was a musical number you were brought up for,
Yes.
which apparently it was. So how did you end? Did you finish out the whole song out there? Did you slink away? Give me the story of how it ended.
Oh, dude, I took it in stride. Because what are you going to... You're going to make more of a scene if you're just, like, shirking off. And that's not the crowd you shirk off stage to. You know, like, people are there, diehards. So I petered it out, kind of slowly went behind some people. So I wasn't front and stage. You know, a couple people were happy to take the lead, and I was happy to let them. And then kind of fizzled out and then was like, yay, that was so fun. Back.
It is important to know when you can and cannot shirk someone off. Do we have any other questions for Molly?
My friend said I nailed it, so.
All right. So you've heard the questions. Now let's hear your conclusions. Marie, what's your call? Is it the truth or a lie?
If your Rocky Horror friends were truly Rocky Horror cult people, then they probably would not have said that you rocked it if you milked it in. And I really think that part of the Rocky Horror show is making the virgins of the show do something really embarrassing. So I'm going to go with a lie. I think she's lying.
All right, lie for Marie. Nate, what's your call?
I've been tricked up by Molly before, but I mean, I believe it. I believe what she's telling me. And I'm going to say truth, even though it's a lie. So
All
truth.
right. Truth. Carla Rose, what's your call?
Well, as a substitute coach for a day, I am trained to a high level to discern changes in sweat patterns. And I noticed that Molly stayed cool as a cucumber while recalling this event, which clearly was traumatic to her. And for that, I'm sorry. But I do believe the veracity of her claim.
All right, so we have Marie with a lie, Nate with the truth, Carla Rose with the truth. Sean, what's your call? Is it true or is it a lie?
You know, I watched you do this with the elephant set on my car thing, where she very convincingly painted this picture by really only changing one detail and having the rest of it be true. And it's entirely possible she's doing the same thing right now. But I thought the details were good enough, and if she's lying, she fooled me. So I'm going to say truth.
All right, so we have Marie with a lie, Nate with the truth, Carla Rose with the truth, Sean with the truth. Molly, what's the story?
I have never been a huge... I mean, I love it. I'd watch it, and I have seen the movie, but I haven't definitely been a cult follower. And I've definitely never been to a Rocky Horror Picture Show showing, nor have I been called up on stage. I would definitely go to one. I would love to.
I knew it!
You have
Well
Superior
done,
control of
Molly.
your sweat glands.
Sean, how would you like to score that?
Let's go. Marie got it right, correct? Marie was the only one who.
Marie was the only one.
So I was really on the fence about it.
Can we just side note that for a minute? Because she also private chatted me that said, I think you're telling the truth, but I'm mixing it up. So I think I nailed it.
Oh my god.
The virgin stuff, it's key to the Rocky Horror. And I was like, well, maybe they just didn't do it at Zoots, this place I don't even know about.
Yeah, that was a good catch. So let's do 50 points to Marie and 75 to Molly for completely fooling me and pretty much everyone else.
All right. So that's the end of our first half. Our points right now are myself in last place with 80 points. Next, we have Molly with 175 points, Carla Rose with 180, Nate with 190, and Marie, our current reigning champion, with 215 points. That's the end of our first half. Join us when we return with Carla Rose and Mask Charades. Only on Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!
Our substitute coach takes us to the bathroom, and Marie flounders delightfully and shows us some skin in a harrowing game of mass charades that Bob probably still has nightmares about. All in the next episode of Balderdash Academy.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can find us on your favorite podcast service as Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!